H-Town, what it do? My name's Nick Stevenson.
I'm Scara.
Yes. Welcome to episode 18. Unfortunately, a season finale of Texans Bloodline. Scara, of all the things that you've gotten to experience for the first time, I did not think you would be experiencing your first heartbreaking playoff loss this early. However, the Houston Texans season is over, and this one just really hurts because of the opportunities laid out in front of them. I
Yeah.
thought they were going to win. Scare. I don't know how you felt, but I really did think they were going to win and go to the AFC South. Go to the AFC Championship game for the first time in franchise history. I felt like you were our lucky horseshoe, if you will. Like, you going along for this ride with us was just, we're going to brand new heights, places we've
Well,
never been before.
I got us our first win at an away game.
You did.
I got us a first win in the playoffs, right?
It was the first road playoff win. Yes.
Okay.
The Texans
I
have
thought they've
won.
never gotten to the second game.
No, they've never gotten to the third game. All they do
Got
is
it.
get to the
Okay.
second game, and then they usually do what they've done. They're now 0-7 in the divisional round. So that's painful.
Well, I got some things.
No, there was a lot of firsts, and that's why I'm so glad you're bringing up those things, because I feel like this season for Texans fans, it's like an ink blot test. It kind of just depends on what your experience is. I feel like for you, this being your first season, given the fact that they started 0-3, at one point we're 3-5, at one point we're down 29-10 in the fourth quarter to the Jacksonville Jaguars. That game should have ended their season back then in week, what was it, 6 or 7. So from your perspective,
And then they did 9 straight wins in a row, right?
of course, and 10 in a row because they won a playoff game as well. So I feel like from your perspective,
right.
How do you feel about how the season went?
Of course, I'm disappointed now because you got me all hyped with like all the stats and the possibilities, like you said, and moving the potential to move forward.
Right.
However, looking at it as a whole, right, it does feel like we're good. Like
Yeah,
that's okay. Um, a lot of teams didn't even make it to the playoffs,
for sure.
right? So I mean, well, a lot of teams were not determined to be the number one defense for most of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I can't. I don't know if any other teams got 10 wins in a row, right? So I'm
No.
trying to look at all the things that were positive that I got to experience. I didn't feel upset about any losses until this one, though.
Yeah. Obviously, because this one's the one that means it's over. Now we don't get
Yeah.
to do this or talk about this, and in this business of the NFL, you don't know who's going to be on the team next year. So you might have seen some of your favorite players play their last game in a Texans uniform. You just never
Better not be
know.
Hutchinson. I'm just saying.
I do want to talk about him at some point because we were hyping him up before the game, and
Well, let's start. Can we start with
yeah,
I have a question.
sure.
Why on earth is it so important that the away game, home game BS
Mm-hmm.
happens when you know that they're going to be playing in snow? Cuz my take is
Mm-hmm.
n- I mean, one, that team obviously has probably practiced in snow before, has lived life in snow
Mm-hmm.
and cold and all this.
Right.
And even if it's not a home game for us, maybe it's an away game for both teams, but somewhere that they can at least be on equal footing because the weather should not be what somewhat dictates a game.
I don't think you're alone in that sentiment. The argument against that is that's the importance of having a good regular season and making sure that that game is not in someone else's house, but is in your house. And I will
But
tell you, go ahead.
it doesn't matter that it's our team or not, like, at like anywhere that has snow, especially if you're playing a team that is from the South,
Right.
like, it's not an equal game. It's not a game to actually determine which of these teams is better.
I agree with you. Um, and I've said multiple times it's 2026. Every stadium should have a retractable roof at this point. The fact that they don't, I mean, they're building new stadiums without roofs in areas like Buffalo, New York, in areas like Green Bay. Well, Green Bay still plays in the same stadium they've always played in. But I'm just gonna tell you this: that is part of the NFL culture. In all honesty, I think one of the first Super Bowls was played like in a blizzard. One of the first few Super Bowls, like they called it the Ice Bowl. That is considered real football weather. Football is a winter sport. So I don't think it's going to go away ever. And as a matter of fact, because of that, that's normally why they try to play the Super Bowl in warm weather cities because they don't, or either places that are covered, because they don't want the weather to be a factor in the most important game of the season. They've played
But
one
but
in modern day. They've played one cold weather Super Bowl in New York, and
then you can take that as the argument for why all the other important games leading up to whether you play the number one important game is just as valuable to be played. If they're going to say we
yeah,
try to get it in a warm weather,
yeah. No, I don't
then
disagree
why are
with
you
you.
allowing all the other games leading up to it?
I don't disagree with you, and um, I think the
And
reason that they would probably argue that it's because the Patriots had to play in the same conditions the Texans did. But like you said, they
yes,
probably
but
get an opportunity to acclimate themselves to it a little bit more. Uh,
100%, that's where the disconnect comes. Like
yeah.
the cold, I can accept the cold.
Hmm.
Cool. It's the like full on snow that I think is just completely unfair.
Yeah.
Like their last game, it was cold. They had to get used to the cold. That
Hmm.
is okay. That affected them somewhat, but all right.
Yeah. Um, I don't disagree with you. I don't think it's going to change, and that's why my argument has always been ever since the first time they made the playoffs and they had to play Baltimore in the cold back in 2023. I said that's why you do your best to make sure that the road to the Super Bowl comes through Houston. That means you got to have a really good regular season. Every single game is important. And if you get that number one seed, then you don't have to worry about it because every game will be in Houston and it'll be a crisp 72 degrees in every single game. I don't disagree with you. I just don't think it's going to change. And I don't think the NFL views it as enough of a disadvantage in one direction that it's something that should be addressed. Um, I just know around the Super Bowl, for some reason, they don't want that controversy, but you don't mind it in the game leading up to the Super Bowl. I mean, there have been games that have played in straight up like blizzard conditions. They had to stop the game for uh for an ice machine. What do they call it?
Yeah,
The
the
snow shoveler.
snowmobile kind of thing.
Yeah, to come out and clear the field just so they could see what yard line they were on in New England. Like it was crazy. And I feel like the rain is really I don't mind them playing in snow. If it's snow that's sticking to the ground, that's gonna, a defense like the Texans, they're super fast, so that would probably slow them down a little bit. But I honestly, I can't blame the weather on why the Texans lost this one. I agree with you; it is a bit of an unfair advantage. That's kind of the culture of the NFL. That's considered real football weather. A lot of players embrace it because of the nostalgia of the old days when everybody was playing in that type of weather. Um, but
Right. But if
I don't
everybody's
disagree with
playing
you.
in it, then it's equal.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you. I've maybe for it to change, it would take a home team being in those conditions and the weather adversely affecting them.
Hmm.
Then maybe something would be done about it. But I don't know. But to me, the Patriots just look like the better team on the field on Sunday, unfortunately. And it wasn't all sides of the ball. Um, we got to talk about
Yeah, I
CJ
just
Stroud. He wasn't
I
good,
mean, I do feel like the weather was a contributing factor,
of course.
uh, and Stroud, you could see him. He was completely in his head,
Hmm.
um, and frustrated and the stress got to him. So I think I texted you. I think my pep talk should have been for Stroud.
I think so. I didn't recognize that version of CJ Stroud. And here's the thing, CJ Stroud went to college at Ohio State. He's played in cold weather before, and he's played well in cold weather before.
It's
I
the
just I
mistakes that got him in his head. Not I don't think the cold.
Yeah, for
But then the
sure.
cold what didn't help when he was already
Yeah,
yeah.
he had I think that first throw to Christian Kirk that Christian Kirk dropped. It may not have seemed big at the moment, but I just felt like that would have done a lot for CJ's confidence to see himself throw a ball, have it get caught,
Be successful.
be successful. Yeah, every throw was a challenge, and he threw 4 interceptions in the first quarter, and I think 3 of them were egregious. One of them went off the hands of
Mhm.
our guy Hutchison, which, let's just be honest, I know we love him, but if it hits you in the hands, you got to catch that ball.
Yeah, he didn't have a good grip on it.
Yeah,
He should have.
so I wouldn't blame CJ for that one, but the other 3 were just awful. I mean, one of them he just threw up in the air like it was a punt and hoped that one of his guys would catch it. So he wasn't good, and there's already rumblings about how CJ's not the guy. And I don't want to go that far. He's only 24, Scara.
Okay, so here's my question then, because I was
Mhm.
discussing this with my mom yesterday.
Yeah.
Um, and so he had this is his 3rd year, correct?
Yes.
2 years ago, he had like a super excellent, wonderful season.
The greatest
And that
rookie
was his
season in NFL history.
and that was his rookie season.
Hmm.
Comparing that season to this season statistics wise, was that better?
This season, no, he's regressed in my opinion each year. But even statistic
So
wise, he's
statistics
thrown more
has
interceptions. He's turned the ball over more. He did a good job in the regular season of not doing it, but he did it. He had 7 turnovers in the
I know.
playoffs.
I
So
know. I guess because what I'm trying to say is was it good, so remarkable because it was a rookie
do I still have
season,
you? Okay.
or it was so remarkable, period, wouldn't have mattered if he were playing 5 years?
Um, it was a good season by all standards. It was especially good because he was a rookie. It wasn't like record setting as far as a quarterback. We talked about it. I think he
Right,
only
that's
threw like 20, 23, 25 touchdowns. Like the record is Tom Brady threw 50 in one season. A really, really good, MVP caliber season is going to be like 35 touchdowns or more, less than 10 interceptions. He threw, I think, 22 to 23 touchdowns, only had 5 interceptions. So it was a good season for anybody, but especially because it was a rookie. Um,
okay, and then this season, what was his touchdown throw, those things?
um, I'm sorry, I don't have that right on hand, but I can get it really quick. If you have another
Yeah, sure.
question while I look that up, then we can.
My other question was, I think it was like towards the middle and later part of the game. There was something they were discussing and like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, pick six. Like,
Okay, so a pick
what is
six is when another nickname for an interception is a pick, and then if they score off of that interception, then the nickname for that is a pick six. So
that? Okay,
that's what, unfortunately, the ball that he threw up in the air for grabs that anybody could have grabbed, that's unfortunately ended up being a pick six because they scored on that play.
yeah,
It was painful, man. And like I was saying before, CJ's 24. I don't think it's time for the organization to give up on him. But I'll be honest with you, Scara, I'm not going to be able to take them seriously if they go into next season and they say, we're just going to run it back the way it was. Something's got to change.
what do you mean by that?
For me, I would like to see at least one of 2 changes and maybe multiple. I think that I know Nick Caley only had 1 season. I don't think he's good enough of an offensive coordinator. And I think it's better to move on from him now and give CJ time to learn a new system and hopefully a competent system. I think all of the entire offensive staff needs to go. Like we needed a new offensive line
Mm.
coach. Everybody on the offensive side of the ball, we need a refresh. That's one of two that I
I
would
mean,
like to see.
there was a breakdown in offensive everything.
Yeah, it was just bad all year. Um, they had a
Mhm.
couple of moments in a few games, but it was just bad all year. It wasn't good enough. You wasted one of the greatest defenses in NFL history. This defense
Yep.
deserves to be playing in the next round. This defense deserves to be playing in the Super Bowl. And a lot of people are going to point at CJ Stroud, and rightfully so. He had way too many turnovers in the playoffs. But you know, they're going to make the excuses of the injuries. I know Nico was out. I know Schultz, who was the leader in catches, ended up going out. Lots of injuries on the offensive line. I get it. But
And I think
quarterbacks,
that's
go ahead.
I just think that that's what caused him to get in his head was Nico,
Yeah,
because he's so reliable and has that, connection, I guess,
yeah, for
with
sure.
him. Not I'm not making excuses for Stroud being in his head, but also, like you said, he's 24. His brain won't be fully developed for another 2 years. So,
hmm And he's had
this is
two
this
concussions in the
young
last 2 years.
yeah, this is young man with I don't know. The mama in me is like, "Oh, I felt so bad for him and I could see him and I was like, "Oh, I'm going to cry for
Yeah.
you."
You might have an appreciation for this. During the draft process, um, they give the players a test. It's called an S2 test. It's a cognitive test, basically
Mhm.
testing their ability to process information quickly, problem solve. And somebody let it leak that CJ Stroud, who was going to either be the number one or number two pick, somebody let it leak that he scored really poorly on that test. Like,
Mm.
really, really poorly. I think he was like in the bottom 20 percentile, like, not good.
And we
And
saw it from the beginning. We could see it
so a
clear.
lot of
Yeah.
people at the time were like, well, how much does this test really mean? You know, and CJ said somebody asked him about it while he was interviewing during the draft process. He said, look, I'm not a good test taker. I play football. Then he proceeds to have the greatest rookie season anyone's ever seen. So everyone's like, oh, this test, kapooey. Because the quarterback who scored a 98% on this test and was the first quarterback taken in the draft, Bryce Young, had a horrible season that year. So everybody's like, well, maybe this test doesn't mean anything. But now, 2 years in a row that we've seen CJ start to regress, that S2 test score is starting to come back up. Is it fair? I don't know. It might be. There might
I
be
think it's
something to it.
fair because it sounds to me like his rookie season set him up with such a high expectation probably for himself
hmm
that moving forward when you don't live up to that and you're disappointing people and you feel that,
Right.
that's not a great position to be in.
Of course. And I think an advantage he had as a rookie is nobody had seen him play in the NFL before. He hadn't established any tendencies. These coaches in the NFL are really smart. You give them a year's worth of tape to watch on you,
Hmm.
they're going to dissect it
Mhm.
and they're going to figure out, okay, here's what he does well. Let's take that away because he doesn't do this well. And I think the NFL just kind of caught up with him, to be honest with you. Now,
Yeah.
the question is, can he now make the adjustment? And, you know, I was saying there's two things I want to happen. One of them, I think the entire offensive staff should be gone. Is that going to happen? I don't know. I would be surprised. The other thing is I don't want to get rid of CJ Stroud as the starting quarterback, but I think there should be a legitimate quarterback competition next season in camp. What I mean by that is don't just say CJ's the starter, this guy's our backup. Make them both compete or three guys
Mm.
compete. Whoever does the best in this camp, they will be the starting quarterback. Don't just hand it to CJ because you drafted him number 2 overall in 2023. I think
I agree.
maybe just the competition in itself. Like, obviously, he
Mhm.
should have the edge over everyone else, but I think it should be a legit competition. And you see how CJ responds with a little bit of pressure now, a little bit of, you know, when he knows there's somebody on his heels, possibly taking his job. Will he perform better? I want to see one of two of those things happen. Ideally, if I was running the team, I would make both happen. And I don't even know who the quarterback is. I don't think it's Davis Mills. I don't think Davis Mills is a good enough quarterback to compete with CJ Stroud for the starting position. But bring
Okay,
somebody else in.
I have a number 3.
Okay.
Have Rodgers come and mentor him.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
I
mean,
don't know
just
what Aaron Rodgers is going
mentally.
to do, But I'm so glad you brought that up because I was thinking to myself, if Aaron Rodgers was the Texans quarterback, would they have made the AFC Championship game?
Mm.
The only hesitancy I have about that is his inability to move around because he's just older. Would this offensive line have been able to protect him? But I know what he would have done a lot better than CJ Stroud. He would have came to the line with a plan, and he would have got that ball out quick, like you're always talking about. And I think just his experience alone probably, yeah, it probably would have uh, given them a better result on offense.
Yeah, I just feel like if we get someone that has an extensive history as a quarterback and to have those conversations about how to mentally prepare, how to mentally in the moment block all of the things around you, all of the pressure, just focus on, hey, we're going to play a game, let's have some fun, and then it makes it less of a, you know, what we saw
Yeah.
on his face this last game.
And I think, like I said, I think just getting an entirely new offensive staff could be a part of that too, because that means you get a new quarterbacks coach, you're getting a new offensive coordinator, a new offensive line coach. I don't know, I think D'Amico Ryan's perspective of this is probably closer to yours than mine, who I've been following this team going on 25 years now. To me, what
Mhm.
happened this season just feels like same old Texans. I think to him, this being his third year, he's looking at the positives. Okay, we won 12 games. We made the playoffs when we started 0-3. I mean, when you think about it, those first 3 games that they lost, all one-score games, if they win 2 more of those, well, instead of 12 wins, you have 14 wins. You're the number 1 seed, and now everybody's playing in Houston. The margins are so small. So I'm sure he's
And I
looking
think
at it positively, which is why I would be surprised if they made huge changes on the offensive end. But if it was me, I would.
but I think that what you're saying is valuable, right? All of these positive things, was this last game like difficult?
Right.
Hell yes. And every other game, not every other, right? But so many other games we saw such good things. It's just
Mhm.
it's hard to quantify the one awful game, and I'm sorry, I do believe that the snow really affected not just their ability to hold the ball or run and not
Yeah.
slip, but also the mentality and the view, like being able to see.
Right.
I don't know. It just that's my take.
No, I don't disagree with you. And I listen, I love your perspective, and your perspective is the right perspective. But this is football. We're fans. We're emotional. And I'm telling you, as someone who in 2002, when this team came into existence, they said, be patient. We're an expansion franchise. We'll get there. Well, 5, 6 seasons later, they still hadn't had a winning record. So they hired Gary Kubiak. And then they said, be patient. We finally have the right coach. Well, it took 6 more seasons to even make the playoffs. So now we were in the playoffs. Hey, be patient. We're new to the playoffs. And every year they've gotten to the exact same point. And to the point where, when I was talking to my other co host, Ruben, before this season started, I said, I don't care what their regular season record is. Just get into the playoffs. And then once you get there, you've got to win at least 2 playoff games. Otherwise, in my mind, it's the same old, same old. Now, once again, that's the perspective of somebody who's been doing this, like I said, going on 25 years, which really makes me feel old. But it's just
Well, we are, so
true, true. Um,
sorry.
it's I can't avoid it.
It's frustrating. No, no,
it's
and I
embrace
do
it.
see your point, and I do agree with your 2 things that they should like action items, right? I agree with those. That thing seems very fair, as long as Hutchinson is mixed in there.
Yeah. If they're being honest with themselves, this
Mhm.
offense is not good enough, and it had an entire season to get good enough, and it just didn't happen. And here's the thing: when they
Is it not
fired, go ahead.
is it not good enough, or is it not coherent enough? I just feel like we have so many good offensive players. They just it's all like
Yeah,
almost like they get confused on who's doing what.
they need better coaching. And with all due respect to D'Amico Ryans, he's a great defensive coach, but offense is just not really his thing. He's left the offense to other people. The problem is the people he's left the offense to. Bobby Slowick 2 years ago was a rookie offensive coordinator had never done it before. He had a really good first season with CJ Stroud and then fell off in the second season. So they fired him. And what did they do? Hire an experienced guy? No, they went back and did the exact same thing and hired a rookie play caller who had never done it before. And so to me, and there's a guy who DeMeco Ryans has lots of ties to. He just got fired from being a head coach in Miami. His name is Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel, maybe he's just not meant to be a head coach, but we know what he can do as an offensive coordinator. And he's friends. He's coached in the Texans organization before. He's in the whole coaching circle with DeMeco Ryans and all of the people that DeMeco's coached with before. I think they should bring him in. That's my opinion. Will they? I don't know, because it's kind of a catch-22. You're a teacher, and you know that consistency is important to students, right? So, go ahead.
Well, yes, this is just an example of how I think what you're saying is, and if I'm working with the same actors all the time and not getting fresh blood, they're not going to improve. But when I
True.
have someone come in and audition and I put them in a lead role when no one was, they were expecting the regular person to get that lead role,
Right.
and then suddenly now they got to work for it.
Yeah. There's something to
yeah.
that. There's something to that. And all of these guys are competitors. So you want to, I'm not saying CJ got comfortable, but it's easy that he could have. Like, nobody was really challenging. Nobody's really
getting
challenging.
challenged like he needed.
Yeah, for sure. But
do you think that if they had a different offensive coach this season, that we would have seen a different season?
I think if you were going to fire Bobby Slowick, you should have brought in somebody experienced. If not, then you should have kept him, because at least he had more experience than the guy you brought in. He would be going into his third year. Maybe you just chalk up his second year to sophomore slump. And now you're in a tricky situation, because if you fire Nick Caley now CJ Stroud in his fourth year will have had 3 different offensive coordinators. And it's going to be really hard for him to build up any type of confidence in a certain system, any type of, continuity with the play calling, with the terminology. It's tough. And that's usually,
I don't know about that.
Go ahead.
I think that if we find the right personality to fit with him and what he needs cognitively, I think he is the type that could latch onto a mentor and really absorb what that person has to say.
You hit the nail on the head, Scara, because the other part of that I'm thinking, like the other side to that argument, is I feel like with Nick Caley, you tried to take CJ Stroud and fit him into Nick Caley's system. You need to bring in somebody who can fit their system around what CJ Stroud does well. Versus, I feel like it looked like at times you were trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, rather than say, okay, this is what CJ Stroud is comfortable with, what he likes to do, what he's good at, what he succeeds at. Let's put that in the offense, instead of saying, hey, CJ, we want you to do this, even if you're not comfortable with it. CJ Stroud likes to throw the ball down the field. He's accurate down the field. And I feel like they wanted him to be more Tom Brady-like and get those quick dink and dunks. And the problem is that that's just, I don't think that's in CJ Stroud's nature. We saw it. He held on to the ball too long. He was always looking for the bigger play. And so maybe if you want him to be successful, bring in a system where he can find those big plays, where he can get the ball down the field. I don't know what the solution is.
I think that's exactly right. Is if you are trying to teach this level of a player to redo their entire natural instincts, then you're not going to get a good player. If you're taking the natural instincts and you're challenging them and you're pushing them, you're starting with a base. You're starting with what he can do already. That seems silly to try to change what he's capable of.
Yeah. And we talked about it. This could be a good offseason conversation, because Nick Caley came in with that New England Patriots system, and Nick Caserio, former New England Patriot, like some of that trying to be the Patriots of the South is still lingering there. And it's like, man, figure out what your quarterback does well and focus on that and try to highlight that. Troy Aikman, during the broadcast after the game was over, he said something. He said the Texans have a lot. He said DeMeco Ryans and Nick Caserio, they got a lot of tough decisions to make on offense, because this defense is historically good, and it's a shame that they won't be moving forward. And so I don't envy them. They have some really hard decisions to make, and no matter what they do, one of us is not going to like it. Somebody is going to, I've seen everything from trade CJ Stroud to the Browns to, fire the offensive coordinator. Everybody thinks they know the answer, right? Well, there's only one man who's going to be responsible, or I guess two men who are going to be responsible to figuring it out, and that's D'Amico Ryans and Nick Caserio. And all the luck to them, man. It hurts. It hurts. I didn't want this season to end like this. I really, really, really thought that they were going to do something special. And, after the sting of this goes away, I'm sure I'll be able to look back and say, man, they started off 0-3. I'll look at that Jaguars game where their season should have been over then. But right now, just the whole
You
picture.
had the Texans, the team, the Texans was in everybody's mouth. So
Yeah.
that's something.
Yeah. And honestly, the majority of the NFL and everybody who covers it was honestly shocked that they played so poorly. Well, I can't even say they played poorly. The defense was amazing. Even in this game, the defense was incredible. A couple of times they knocked the ball out, and unfortunately they couldn't get on it because I think that may have even given them a better chance. But, I mean, when you're turning the ball over 5-6 times, it's just hard to win in the NFL. And I feel bad for CJ. I really do. I think he's a good kid. He's just a kid.
I do too.
A lot of
I just
people
wanted to hug him so many times.
a lot of people
watching him like,
are questioning
I know
his mental fortitude, I'm not going to do that right now. Like I said, I've been 24 before. So I wasn't doing
Lord.
half the things this man was doing when I was 24. But it's a business, and it's a result. It's a results-based business.
I think that's really a solid point. Is he shouldn't be having these thoughts about like, what do we do? What play should we run? I don't know what to do. That's a coach thing.
Mhm.
Like, he should know exactly, okay, this is what's happening in the game. This is where my players are. This is who I have and I don't have. If he is questioning his own choices and not saying, okay, this is who I have on the field. This is the team that we're faced. This is what I'm good at. This is what they're bad at. This is what we need to do. Those are coaching issues.
Mhm.
He should feel so comfortable in his choices because he's been well coached in what to do and when.
100%. That's why I think the whole offensive staff needs to go. That's just my opinion. We'll see if they do it,
Let's just
Scara.
do it.
We'll see if they do it. Scara, thank you so much for going on this journey and allowing us to go on it with you. You took a chance. I appreciate you trusting me because I know I got you into a situation with the previous people we were working with. And you easily could have walked.
All right.
You easily could have walked away after that went south. You stuck with it. You stuck with me. I really appreciate it. And
Well, I trust you.
I appreciate that. Let me ask you, season's over now. Where would you put your number as how big of a Texans fan that you are?
I'm gonna go with a 9.5 because I get like super excited now every time I see Texans anything, jerseys, logos, posters in people's windows. Like, I know them and I know who they are and I can name the players.
Right. 9.5 is great. You started at what, a 3?
Yeah,
and through this whole, I think it was, would you start 3 or 4? I can't remember.
I don't know.
I know at one point you were pretty low, and then you hovered around 7 for most of the season. And then, now that you've experienced this, listen, I don't know what your plans are for next season. I don't know what your plans are for next season. I hope we get to do this again. I had a blast doing it, and I had a blast watching you grow in your football knowledge, watching you grow in your fanhood. Ball, Scara, and I love it.
Thank you. I kind of feel like I can have a conversation with people now.
Absolutely. I said I get a lot of good feedback.
You go first.
From our listeners too. Like they enjoy, they feel like you ask good questions, and they like that you don't pretend to know things that you don't know. Like you're not afraid to ask and say, hey, this doesn't make sense. Make it make sense. So I think it works. I love the show. It's my favorite show that I do.
I'm enjoying it. I'm having fun. I have like all the games were like on my calendar. I'm looking forward to next season with you, Nick.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna give you some homework for the off season, and
Okay.
we'll have to get together and decide when we want to start up again. But now we got to figure out, number one, what free agents the Houston Texans are gonna bring from other teams to this team to make it better, and then you're gonna have to do a little bit of college scouting. There's no college football on right now, but you can start Googling and seeing, okay, what are the Texans' needs and who are the best players that are going to be available in this draft to fill their needs. And then at some point when we get to the draft, similar to what you did when you were Googling, the players you liked on the Texans, just kind of get a little bit of background on them and who do you think would look good in a Texans uniform? And
I
it'll
think
be
we definitely have some episodes leading up to the draft because I will have lots of questions.
Oh yeah, for sure. And the off-season football, the NFL is the only sport that's honestly a year-round sport. Like we could probably continue doing this show every week and there'd be some type of news. But as far as, I figure we'll probably take at least a few weeks off of maybe we do once a month moving forward until we start to get hot and heavy in free agency and the draft.
Yep.
But I'm
Sounds
glad
perfect.
I'm glad we're gonna keep doing it, and hopefully next year we'll watch the Texans make history. Really quick, I was about to get out of here. I just want to say we said that we thought Xavier Hutchinson would do something special, and I will say he had a couple of moments where it was almost there, and like the
So
entire
close.
game it was just like one catch away, and he got his hands on the ball, but he couldn't grab it in, or he fell to the ground and the ball came out. Like he almost made an amazing catch right there at the end of the game, and honestly, it wouldn't have
And
changed
he
the
was
outcome.
but he was where he needed to be all the
Yes,
time.
I feel like I looked at his contract. He's got one more guaranteed year left on his deal before he becomes an unrestricted free agent. He should be on this team next season for sure, and I hope
Okay.
he didn't do anything to, in my opinion, to not be back here. So fingers
And
crossed.
he now has a jersey he doesn't need.
100%. He absolutely does. Hey, Xavier, we love you, bro. We believe in you. We
Please.
want you on this team next year. Scara needs your jersey so she can wear it to the game at NRG Stadium. Hook it up, brother. Hook it up. All right, Scara. Thank you so much once again. All of you, thank you so much. Please, if you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to our content, Houston Sports State of the Union. That's the channel you're watching this video on right now. Please hit that subscribe button, set a notification, save Texans Bloodline to your favorites playlist, and you can follow Scara at Bad Teacher Tales, now on Instagram, on TikTok, and on YouTube. I will make sure that those links are in the description of this video. We love you guys. We're going to see you in a few short months. In the meantime, please stay 10 toes down for the H. We love you, and good night.